Hi, I'm Preeti Torul. I'm the actor and screenwriter behind Demons.
For you, for rent and food and bad clothes.
Okay, this is a Zara collab that I thrifted.
You wear used Zara? Take the cash.
The journey started 6 years ago for me. As an actor and a screenwriter, I was sick of all the breakdowns and scripts that I would receive, especially in Canada. I don't have the privilege of being an actor or an artist. Everyone sees me as brown, South Asian first, then a woman, then an artist. So I had these two hurdles to get over, and they were just annoying. And I never got to play the roles that I wanted to play. Every breakdown was BIPOC 35 or Indian 35, but there was no characteristics added to any of the roles. I didn't know if the characters were anxious or quiet or extroverted or funny or lame, and I just wanted to play a character that I envied in television. Like, I envy a lot of white actors because they have the privilege of playing human characters and playing flawed characters. And when it comes to actors who aren't white, I feel that we're pigeonholed into playing like virtuistic characters to tell a moral story. And I was sick of that. I just want to play a shitty person. That's all I want to do. And so 6 years ago, I started writing a story that was based on my experience growing up in Toronto. Like, I grew up at Dovercourt and Bloor. Like, I grew up in the heart of the city, and I immigrated here with my family, but the trope for us wasn't a fun immigrant trope. It was a hard immigrant trope. We came to Canada, and it was actually much worse for us. And I grew up poor in downtown Toronto, and I wanted to write a story about what that felt like, and that's where Demons comes from. Well, the other reason I wrote Demons is because I grew up with a fractured relationship with my biological mother. I'm like a living taboo in the South Asian diaspora. Like, to not be close with your parents or your family is very taboo, and to be estranged is even further than taboo. It's unheard of. But the thing is that it's very commonplace. And the reason I named it Demons is that there's always something kind of lurking in the background, and that trauma between broken parents and broken kids, it's always there. No matter how much you try to escape it, it's always there. And as I grew up in comedy and as I became an actor and a writer, I realized that, like, the thing about that demon is I don't need to kill it. I just need to learn how to manage it. And so that's how Demons came about, and that's why our show is called Demons. Yeah, because I love television. I love television. I Television was my friend when I was a lonely, broken kid at home. I would plug my TV into the wall, and we couldn't afford cable, and whatever showed up, I enjoyed. And I just want to help people feel seen and laugh through their TV the way it did for me. TV saved my life. And so these characters are gonna come into people's homes every week for 45 minutes and make them upset and make them laugh, and that's what I want. 90 minutes for a feature is not enough to tell the story of two disgruntled brown women who wanna cause some shit. TV offers audiences a time to see themselves and a time to connect to characters and a time to, uh, actually really dissect. I love the book club culture of TV. I love all the podcasts and all the YouTube documentaries about television. I think it's such a phenomenal, strong art form that allows a lot of people to feel seen. Film does the exact same. I love film, and there's so much element and artistry that film and television borrow from each other, but it's really a form of therapy and safety for audiences. That's why I love television. Well, Kelly and I met on Bria Mac Gets a Life, and the thing that really solidified wanting to work with her on our short film because was the fact that we both commiserated and bonded over being immigrant kids from the UK, from immigrant families. Her family from the Caribbean, my family from Mauritius, and there was a very parallel touch point between us of having fractured relationships with family and then being an immigrant and then coming to Canada and it still being a bit difficult. And the thing about my comedy and my writing was that it's a lot of darkness, but it's all under the guise of being light. Because it is kind of funny to immigrate here and want the immigrant dream, and then it turns out pretty bad. You're like, that's in and of itself pretty funny, as well as it's tragic. And so Kelly and I bonded over that. And so what we're trying to do with our short film Demons is that it's also a proof of concept and we shot the last scene of our pilot as a short film. And I thought of Kelly to help, elevate the narrative on screen and to bring her on board. And just it proves that the stories don't uniquely have to be about identity or skin color. It's just about human experience. If you have a problem, if you're estranged or you have a difficult family or you're just broke, like that shit is universal. It's not tied to identity, race, gender, anything. And so that's what bonds me to my audience, and that's what bonds me to the artists that I work with. Honestly, to me, it's all cut from the same cloth. It's all storytelling. You just happen to be in front of an audience or behind or in front of the camera. So the more that I write, the better actor I become because I know what intonation and emotion I'm trying to get away with. And the more that I create for television and I create on Demons, the better editor I am. And the more I work as an editor, the better writer I am. Like I can write the scene that I see in my head. All of these facets working both behind and in front of the camera is just a form of storytelling. They all match. They're all cut from the same cloth. So for me, they're not independent. To be fully immersed in film is truly the way that I get to tell stories and tell them well. 1000%. I remember when I was on Bria Mac Gets a Life, which was, I had the pleasure of being directed by Kelly Fife Marshall. And on that series, I remember we were shooting and I was in heels. And I was in like 4-inch heels, and I think I had been in them for around 8 hours. So I was ready to throw myself out the window. And were cutting to another scene and the wardrobe department wanted to save me, so they were like, Don't worry, you could take off the heels." But I had already been established as 2 inches higher than my other actor, so if we cut to the coverage, it wouldn't match, so my editor brain kicked on, and I was like, "No, I have to stay in these painful heels. I gotta do it for the edit." Well, first of all, I get the script and I just break it down. I break it down and break it down. And what breaking down means is that I read it over and over and over again. And then I try and connect it to a show or a film or even a person that I know. And I'm like, how do I see this person in art or how do I see them in the real world? And then from there, I try to understand what their why is in the scene. Like, what is the purpose of this character? And once I know their why, I can try and attempt to build off of that and build a persona and build a character and go into a role. Once you know their why, I think that's a universal lesson that I take into acting. 1000% because I'm not robbing people in my real life. Like, I want to know what it's like to be just truly like morally bankrupt. Like, what does it feel like to be morally bankrupt? And her why is her desperation. Like, my character Madhuri, and her nickname is Mads in the series, um, she by her motto is by any means necessary to get the love that she never got. And that is so fun for an actor to play the complete opposite, to play a person. And the truth is that I don't think our characters are actually shitty. I think they're just trying to get their needs met. They might do it in the worst way possible, but they're just trying to get their needs met. That's it. I think the advice I would give is don't lose sight of what you're trying to do. Just know your why. What's your why? Why do you want to do it? And that really informs your actions because there's days that are going to be dark. There's years that are going to be dark. Us sitting here and talking and having a connection, and the fact that I get to premiere Demons, our short film, which is a concept for our TV show at TIFF 50, that took 6 years of overnight success. Like, you know what I mean? It's not easy, it's not glamorous, and sometimes it's not fun, but it's really beautiful when you know your why. And my why was to make a show so broke and broken people can feel seen. And that's what I wanna do, and I just wanna make them laugh because when you're broken, you need to laugh or else it's too dark. So know your why. I think know your why, and just know that it will get hard and it will be hard, but it'll also be beautiful. You know what? A lot of people are asking me what it's like to have worked as an usher, like, 20 odd years ago at TIFF and now to be premiering at TIFF, and honestly, I'm a little numb because I'm walking the same streets that I did 20 years ago, broke, no family, no job, just trying to figure it out, and then trying to usher moviegoers into a screening, and moviegoers, like, punching me to get to Brad Pitt. I remember once I had to show Kevin Bacon where the bathroom was, and, this gentleman came up to me and he's like, "Do you know where the washroom is?" And then I was like, "Oh my god, you're Kevin Bacon?" And I got choked up, and all I could think of was Tremors, and I think I sent him to the wrong room. But it's fun memories like that that it makes me really proud to have been an usher in my hometown at our hometown festival, and now I get to be a part of it. I think that's just beautiful, and it's a beautiful metaphor for Toronto. It's like Toronto is a tough city, and it could really cut you down, it could really grind you down, but it can also show you some beautiful moments.
What? You're so broke that you don't recognize real money anymore? Come on.
50s and 20s? Like, what do you do, import slash export kids?
Hi, I'm Preeti Torul, and you're watching Customatic TV.